Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming Tentacom video. We're going to be taking a look at the performance of Destiny on the PlayStation 4. Of course, this is an alpha build, and therefore the final performance of the game may indeed end up being a little bit different to what is being shown. Now, there is no article for this one, which is very unusual for us, but quite frankly speaking, I think this is one of those times where the performance of the game pretty much does speak for itself. It doesn't really require that much explanation. Also, since we're not comparing the Xbox One version, there's not really any point doing graphical comparisons and so on, so I didn't really feel that there was a requirement for an article in this particular instance. But the frame rate for the game, for the most part, does stay at the 30 FPS mark. I did notice a couple of dips every so often, and surprisingly enough, at some points you don't really think that the frame rate would be dipping, and yet, yes, it does go down. So, I think it's fair to say that so far, considering that it is, at the end of the day, just the alpha build, they have got it to a pretty damn good level of performance. Obviously, they still have to do a fair level of fine-tunement. For the most part, however, unless you're going to be getting into serious battles, you're probably going to be finding that the frame rate does hit 30. The samples that we've got here are definitely within the first couple of hours of gameplay for the most part, and it's not what I'd consider to be the most strenuous of tests, but it's probably going to be a fairly average sample of the types of damage and destruction that you manage to create within the game on a frequent basis. Clearly, we'll be finishing off a full performance analysis. I think the best option for us here is just to take these numbers and say they look pretty damn good, but what we will of course be doing is when the final retail release hits, we'll be of course checking it out on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 to make sure that there is no discrepancies between the versions and so on. We can actually do a decent like-for-like comparison. Hopefully we'll also hear news regarding the PC version as well. But overall, the bottom line is, if you're worried that the game might be a broken mess, or it's going to be performing badly, or anything like that, because it is, at the end of the day, an alpha build, your fears are unfounded. You're going to be getting a pretty damn good experience, and once again, remember, just to reiterate, this is an alpha build, so the performance will be improving over time. Despite a couple of frame rate drops here and there, you don't really notice it for the most part during gameplay. And certainly there have been a lot worse. I will also say, for the visual quality, I did have a look for some torn frames. As far as I can tell, there are perhaps one or two, but they are certainly not prolific throughout the game experience as far as I've personally been able to find, which is definitely a good thing considering the rather ugly problems, to be frankly honest, that plagued Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs in Xbox One was notoriously bad, but the PS4 wasn't without blame as well. There were some torn frames on there, and as I said, I found one or two so far in my testing of Destiny, but in comparison to other titles in this generation, they're nowhere near as bad. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the visual fidelity of the title, and the frame rate is pretty good as well. As I said, when the full game is launched, we'll be doing a much more in-depth comparison. But for now, I just wanted to get this video up so that you guys can have a look and make a decision that's confident in knowing that the performance of the title is good for a beta, and it's going to speak volumes for the end release. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.